Raise your horns high and let your spirit flow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show. Feel the rush, let the loudness grow. It's the classic metal wrap-up show.
We got our guest, Mr. Vicky Vincent. What a trip. I guess he's having some kind of end of the Pride Month event at his farm. So,
yeah, I couldn't be there. I'm over here at the Arcata Theater. Me and my brother, my brother and Sweepy over here. We're waiting.
oh, that's right. Yeah,
Doc. And I wanted to show you where I've been lately on the road. So but glad
is
to
Taylor
have.
Is the lovely Taylor there? I mean,
she's already hit the road back to Chicago. Is my
what
understanding.
about the Freemason? Is he?
He might still be inside with Dawn right now. I think taking some photos backstage.
Press photos
or personal photos. I'm not
personal
exactly
photos.
sure.
Yeah,
I still once there was guys in towels. Evil left. The room, So.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And then with that,
yeah.
I was going to say with that bass player threatening to, jump into your bed and pound the shit out of you.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Get the fuck out too.
Exactly. So yeah. So I was glad that I was able to put the connection together for you to speak to my dear friend Miss Vicky Vincent. She's a good guitar player and a fine band leader, and so hopefully her meet and greet she told me about will be well attended out there in Tennessee. But for those CMS Wrap Up fanatics out there that we've been gone for a couple of weeks, we should explain why. How are you doing, Ruben? You were dodging flames.
I was dodging flames. It was like it was nuts. We did have a fire. I guess when was it? That was last Wednesday. Last Wednesday would have been what? Let me see here. I guess it was the 11th of June. So they evacuated. I was planning on sticking around, except, it got pretty bad. There was like 51 homes torched, and then 91 exterior buildings, other additional buildings like shops and barns and wood sheds and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty bad. So I wound up getting out of here Wednesday night, and then Thursday just kind of monitored things and made it back up here a couple times. I mean, that's the interesting thing about being out in the country is that the sheriffs are up and down the road. And on both occasions, at least when I was here, but I'm sure they came up several times while I wasn't here. They were like, well, you know why we're here, right? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, well, we can't force you to go, but, just be careful. And if you need help, call us. But I think what had happened is it had gotten sketchy enough that if it got over the hill, which was still a good 6-7 miles out, it could have been pretty bad, but I wound up coming back again on Friday to get all my shit out of the room, all my music shit. I mean, literally, a whole pickup back bed jam packed and then moved it out, and I'm having to move it back, but I'm doing that in small increments. So it's crazy. Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. And I was supposed to see Styx on last Sunday, which that didn't happen because we were still in that, it was still in level 3, which means, get the hell out now. So I had to bail on that, unfortunately, but that really sucked because Styx, they're pretty good live. And it was, Kevin Cronin, which is basically REO Speedwagon under his name now, and, Don Felder, who, again, does, Eagles stuff. So, it would have been a good time, but fuck.
Yeah,
what can you do? What can you do? you know.
What can you do? But well, I'm glad that you're okay. I'm glad your house is okay. Your
Right.
family, your critters, all that
Right.
stuff made it out. You didn't lose anything. That's the good
Mm.
news. I mean, these Oregon summers, you never know what the hell's going to happen and when it's
Right.
going to pop up.
Yeah, that
Down
was
here
nuts.
was a few summers ago. Medford was just on fire, the whole fucking
Mm-hmm.
place, man. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, it happens, but I'm
Right.
glad you're all right. But that's why we had some, pause time there on the doing some recordings and some live show stuff
Right.
because we were like, hey, we've got to wait for this to play out and see how it goes.
Right.
So, I also want to make mention on my side of things for those of you that are wondering, Rumble sucks. I just can't. I just can't label it any other way, man. I'm sorry. Uploading things to Rumble is double the time and pain in the ass than it is to YouTube. It
Mm-hmm.
might even like 4 times the time and pain in the ass. Maybe I don't know if I'm the only person in the world. I'm not a tech
Mm-hmm.
fucking giant. I'm not Aiken IT, that's for sure.
Right.
So who knows what I'm doing? But normally I get the videos up in a decent amount of time. It's been just slower than molasses in winter. I know my internet out here in Oregon too is constantly telling me that they're updating services and working on this and fixing that. So who knows what that means, but I'm able to come on here and do this. I'm able to upload those segments are going to YouTube in a matter of minutes. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, subscribe to our YouTube channel. YouTube has not been censoring us in any way, fortunately enough, and it's easier and faster to get it up there. So the clips are going to go up there first, and then I'll try to update Rumble as I can. A third general show topic that has popped up in my messages and emails. People are asking us to get onto Apple Podcast and just
Mm-hmm.
the audio portions if they're at work or whatever.
Right.
So can't say when exactly. I'm gonna start looking into what that entails and how I do all that. But
Yeah.
that will be coming in the next month or so, hopefully, if I get everything mapped out and how to get an account and sign up and do this and do that and start uploading the audio clips for you guys. So I will go that route for those of you who are out there working a job or doing something and want to listen to us that way. So that's happening. Someone asked and keeps messaging about merch. We don't have any merch yet. We're not in the business. We're not. We're a couple
We
of
could, we
knuckleheads
could
talking
have,
to each other.
we
So
could pitch one to
yeah.
Ed Trunk so we could throw it in the trash.
Yeah. So, unlike Aiken and Wendell, who would have told you for years they're never interested in your money and they're doing all this for free and blah, 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 blah,
Right.
blah. I would say that if someone wants to, if there was enough need or desire to have merch, I'd get some t-shirts made and ship them out to some people like my brother does. I got no problem doing that, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to make a t-shirt business
Right.
either.
Right.
And as far as this show goes, we can't tell you this much. And I'm going to say this right now as a CMS watcher and listener. It's become, if you could watch the live show, it's slightly bearable, but you have to sit through long segments of music where there's
Right.
just nothing happening.
And it's the
Then
same
when they give you
people.
the show,
It's the same requesters
yeah, then
too. It's like,
and then
wow,
when
a
they give you
Shelly
the show
Rocks
a week or two
Dawkin,
later,
a Shelly Rocks Dawkin
yeah,
request, and a Sal Deep
Wes,
Purple
imagine
request.
that.
Ooh, yeah.
So what I'm saying here is that unlike them, Evil will never tell you that I would never put a promotion or advertise something. If someone, I'm stupid, I'm a capitalist. If they offered us enough money, I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
we'd say, hey, this show is brought to you by whatever the fuck, as long as it's okay with us
Right.
and we want to do it. But
Right.
we're not looking to charge you a monthly fee. We're not going to get on the fucking locals. We're not going to get on the pay to play shit. We're going to try to keep this free, but you are going to have to sit through Rumble commercials or YouTube commercials if you don't pay for those subscriptions, just like anything else.
Right.
But I can say, as someone who I currently pay for a YouTube subscription, mostly because my kid also uses it and we use it for music as well as the watching of the YouTube. I don't pay for the Rumble yet, although I'm starting to wonder if I should, because I can tell you right now, sitting between the Rumble commercials and then Aiken puts in those clips he's holding
No.
on to for a week or two.
Right.
When he drops them, he puts his own commercials into them.
Right.
So you get double the commercials. It's like every 5 fucking minutes there's something you talking about has nothing to do with what you're trying to watch. So we're never going to go that far. You won't have commercials in the middle of our show. If it's the Rumble commercial inserted by Rumble, not much I could do about that. But if you subscribe to one of these platforms, you should be getting us with no commercials. There will be nothing in the middle of our show coming from us saying whatever. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, just want to put that out there
Right.
because people were asking questions about that as well. So,
Yeah.
Well, let's bring up the CMS. The CMS has had two shows that we've had time to digest, and Evil took some notes and thought about some things, and there is some oddness
I
going on here that we're going to bring up, and
right.
well, I'll let you go if you have something to start with. I have
Oh
something to
no,
start
you
with, but
you
you go
go
ahead and
ahead.
fire first.
I think the you know here's the thing. There's nothing memorable about it. I know I listened to probably three quarters of last week, and there even just yesterday or last night rather, not a whole lot that stands out. I mean, it's just dribble, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, and some just out and out fucking bullshit. Let's just call it like it is, ladies and gentlemen. So the first thing I want to bring up here that I thought was odd that Ruben might be aware of, or maybe he's not aware. I don't know if I share it with him or not. But a couple 2 weeks ago, Neely went to Lima, Ohio, and now the Arcata, right, back to back.
Right, right.
And he goes to these docking shows. First thing I noticed was when he was telling the story, he said there's like 800 plus people at the Lima show.
Mm-hmm.
When I played the news clip from the media station, they said 500 people.
Mm-hmm.
So is he just pumping up Don's numbers,
Sure.
trying to make it look like there's more people in attendance to get? I mean, come on, dude. What's a couple hundred? And when you look at the crowd, you can see it's 500 or less. And so, like 800 plus, I don't know if that. Where is he again? Neely just coming up with shit, just to be, I guess, blowing fucking smoke and hot air up Don's ass. I don't know. I mean,
Well, now
whatever.
now let me answer as
And then he
Neely.
goes on.
Of course.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he's full of shit.
So, and then he goes on to tell, did you hear? Yeah. And did you hear the story? He tells a story about going to a bar and meeting Maurice. Did you hear
Right,
about Maurice?
right. Yeah. Well, go ahead. This is good.
And yeah. So he's at a bar in Lima. I don't even know how to call this fucking place. So it's bumfucked Ohio, Cornfield, Ohio.
Right.
I guess Neely's figuring, he's going to the KKK bar. And so there's only white people allowed, is
Yeah,
his
right.
assumption, because he
Right.
seems surprised that a black man
Right.
entered the bar and was checking it out. And
Yeah.
and Neely kind of called him on it, like, what are you doing here? Like, what kind of fucking down south segregationist bullshit is this? Motherfucker wants to come in the bar and have a
What a
glass
moron.
of water, take a piss. Like, he could have no reason to be in the bar. Neely, you don't own the fucking place. So, like, that's a weird thought process. And then he says, Maurice, the Swede, and a carny, and he buys the guy a drink and has cocktails with him, which just seemed like an odd thing for a Neely to do.
Right.
Like, Neely, would you take Maurice to your business and introduce him to the fucking lady at the front desk?
Right, no
who was
shit.
screaming, what? When
Yeah.
your car was stolen?
Right,
You know what I'm saying? Come on, dude. So that's just
Yeah.
that whole story was weird to me. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is he talking
Again,
about? So
it
that
goes
was
back-
a straight
Goes back to the whole you can't scrub the internet, and he just keeps sticking his foot in it.
yeah. So that was a whole, like, the story was odd. The I don't know, just on and on. That was strange. And then what I noticed was he had told that whole travel story of those shows. And then that was that week's show. And then come yesterday, this week's show, because we're recording this on Sunday, he recorded a show last night where he mentioned that last week's show was kind of a dud because he was so tired from all the travel from the Dawkins shows. And by the time he got on the mic Saturday night, at his age, he was pooped. So he wasn't really bringing it the week before.
He never does.
may
What
not
the
be
hell?
true.
I mean, you couldn't tell the difference.
I didn't think the show was I didn't know it was any difference.
He's full of
The funny
shit.
part of me is, so then in my mind, I'm like, well, shit, man, he must have been hauling some serious, logging some over the road miles if he's tired, So I look on the map just because I'm not from these places. I mean, this is
Right.
my first time at the Arcata, as you can see here, but I mapped this shit out. Lima from his place is 3.5, 4 hours. And then from
Right.
his place to St. Charles is an hour and 45 minutes. And even if you went from Lima to St. Charles, you're only driving 4 hours and 45 minutes or whatever it was, under 5 hours. Now, for me on the West Coast, that doesn't seem that far. But apparently to him, it was like fucking traffic and hauling made him tired. And so I just thought that was odd. It's really showing your age there, Niels,
Right.
if driving a few hours each way on each day is making you pooped and you can't get on the
Mhm.
microphone and talk to people. That seems a strange thing. So,
Right.
so there was all of that. We'll let that be that. It was odd the way he tells the story, and judging by, I'm not knocking the gigs. If Don's getting paid, go get paid, Don. But come on, man. Some of the shit you try to shovel there on the microphone is just so obvious. It's just bullshit. So, and then they,
It's really bad.
I think last week they, yeah. Well, then we're gonna get into some more bullshit here. That's just like I don't even know if they know this is bullshit or what they're talking about. I don't even know how they would not know this. But
Yeah.
last week they mentioned something about it, I believe, or the week before that, and then this week they brought up again that Carol Kaye, the Wrecking Crew bass player,
Right.
is the publicist.
Is the publicist.
So can we explain this? Really?
Okay.
Can we explain?
So Carol Kaye is, or the one that they were thinking was the bass player, which that is true. I mean, there's a lady that played, or ghost, musician that performed on all these albums, Beach Boys and whatnot. But Neely seems to think that this is the same woman that's the publicist, Carol Kaye, which is not so. The Carol Kaye that's the publicist is probably 20 years younger, or maybe even more, maybe 25 years younger than the 90-year-old that he's referencing, which is the bass player that was in the Wrecking Crew. And if you recall, listen to the replay, he says he's corresponded with her, and he doesn't know one from the other. He's a dipshit.
And we can't sort out, does Aiken know that he's full of crap and not calling him on it? Or if is Aiken not aware of this and thinks that they're the same person too? Because he keeps acting like that on the air, but the same token, you would think that he would know.
I think what has happened here, and this is just my assumption because I'm not Aiken. Aiken has to know that the Carol Kaye who runs Chaos Productions, which is the publicist, who's worked with Leopard, Deep Purple, Richie Blackmore, on and on. I mean, they're top tier bands, Rolling Stones, The Who, top tier classic rock bands. I mean, if they made a name for themselves in the 70s and 80s, she's worked with them. But anyways, Aiken has to know, because I alone myself, have been corresponding with Carol Kaye for at least 2 decades. So I would assume Aiken's been corresponding with her for at least that long, if maybe another 5 years in addition to me. So he knows. There's no way he doesn't know. I just don't think he's giving that dickhead a lifeline anymore to rescue his ass. He just, flat out wants him to look like a dipshit. I mean, and well, that's probably some entertainment. That's probably what keeps him awake throughout this 6-hour fucking train wreck, is the fact that this idiot opens his mouth and he sticks his foot in it over and over again. Similar to that Maurice thing. I mean, it's like, really? You think black people aren't going to come into that bar? And then now him thinking that I guess there can't be at least 2 Carol Kays on planet Earth.
Now, I don't know if you're able to do this or not, but I did email you the photos proving that these 2 people are not even, like, you couldn't even look at the photo and mistake the person as the other person. It's not even close.
Oh, no,
you
can't. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, it really...
I don't know if you could share screen and bring that up, but I think it would be very interesting for these people to understand that, I mean, a simple Google search will show you some pictures of what we're talking about, and they're not even close.
I think the other
thing...
Not
only 30 years age difference, they don't even look like anything like each other.
Yeah, I think the other thing we were talking about was the fact that Carol Kaye is mentioned in Paul Stanley's book. And, he actually dated her for a period of time. I forget, again, that was a while back that I read Paul's book, but it was, I mean, it was several decades ago, probably 20, 30, well, probably 30, 40 years ago. So there's no way Paul Stanley was dating an
Stanley's
older
dating
woman.
that short-haired lady who
Yeah,
was playing on the
right.
Beach Boys
Yeah,
records
right,
at 65.
right. There's no way.
And if
There's
you
no
look
way
at
he was
her,
doing
I
that.
mean, there's just no, yeah, that's not the same person. And so
Right.
that's all weird. And then they even, as if looking at the two photos didn't explain how obvious this was,
Right.
you know, they also stick their whole, like, for guys that claim to know so much about music, they didn't know anything about the Wrecking Crew
Right.
other than Carol Kaye and some guitar player guy.
Right.
But the most famous person, my understanding, in the Wrecking Crew was Hal Blaine, the drummer, who I think played on like more records than any drummer maybe in recorded history or
Right.
something. I mean, he's got a lot of records. This guy was the dude. Like, he was on all the stuff in the 50s and the 60s
Right.
and 70s. So, like, for them to not know Hal Blaine is kind of like, what? You don't know the dude that was like the centerpiece of
Right.
the drum and that for the hired hands in the studio. This dude was the man. I mean, everyone will tell you that. There's like, go
Right.
on YouTube, put Hal Blaine, and you'll see this guy's track record is monstrous. So that's crazy that they would only know Carol Kaye, and then thinking this is the whole thing is a big cluster F that made no sense to me. And when we did a little research, well,
I mean,
none of
I
this
think-
is true. They're
I
not
think a
even on
lot
the
of
right-
it was just Chris just letting Neely go just for filler. I mean, it just certainly seemed that way to me.
Well, let's for the record, if Ruben, you ever catch
Yeah,
Evil just spinning bullshit, just say, "Hey, Evil, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about." I'll go, "Okay, thanks."
right.
No problem. But to let the guy keep going on about some shit that makes no sense. And then they said, well, we watched documentaries on it. Well, if you
Right.
watched the documentary, you didn't see Hal Blaine playing the drums in the documentary or the interview with the guy with the sunglasses who plays the drums, who's like, everyone knows that's the dude who runs who was like the centerpiece of the Wrecking Crew. So it's just crazy to me that they didn't put all that together. That was all weird. And you all need to take a look, because when I looked at the photos of Paul
So,
Stanley and Carol
I don't
Kaye
know.
and-
Can you see that?
oh yeah, there it goes. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
this
I
is
see,
the
Sheriff. Go ahead.
this is the 90-year-old woman that.
Okay, hold on. It's only showing it's not. There she is.
There she is.
Popped up. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
there we
there's-
go.
Yeah, this is
So
the
do you
90.
think Paul Stanley's gonna date that?
Well, he wouldn't have dated her 40 years ago. I mean, he was going to go younger.
I don't
right?
think she. I'm just gonna take a guess and say she wouldn't date Paul Stanley either.
Oops. Let me see. This is my meme that I posted. On there are two Carol Kays, Neely. You stupid son of a bitch. But yeah, there is. Let me see if I can dig up the other one.
Yeah. Just because there's no way you would mix these people up if you. I mean, not only by what their track record and career path is, but by their age, by the photos and how they look. It just seemed really weird to me. I was like, and they just kept going on and on. It wasn't like a 5-minute mention. It was a whole segment there talking about this stuff going on. So, no. So what they were saying was, let us clarify it. Let the wrap-up show get some
there it
facts
is.
right. Oh,
so this is a
okay.
most recent Carol Kaye.
There you
Now,
go.
this is off her
Thank you.
Facebook page. Now that is not the same woman.
Not
this
even
is
close.
this is Carol Kaye, the publicist, and I believe
Yes.
this was around. I don't know. It almost looks like Live to Win era. So that's
late
yeah,
90s, early
yeah.
2000s or something.
So I don't care what they were saying. This is not the woman that Neely was corresponding with that he thinks is the bass player in the Wrecking Crew. Now, he might have corresponded with this Carol Kaye, but this Carol Kaye is not the same Carol Kaye as the other one.
as
that
the
he
one
was-
that's talking about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and that she
Right.
doesn't want to be identified as the Wrecking Crew because it has a negative connotation. She consider herself
Right.
wrecking shit. She consider herself a musician playing for Brian Wilson and all these people in the studio.
Right.
I believe she did like Phil Spector records and
Sure.
shit like that too. So, you know,
And she
like
did do a
that-
lot of shit. I mean, that documentary
Yes.
is pretty cool because it's like, oh my God, that's the thing that opened my eyes to a lot of the shenanigans that was happening within the recording industry and a lot of these bands, like with Kiss and all those 70s acts.
Absolutely. And so the story they were trying to say and what they were trying to, it's not this lady here, it's the bass
Right.
player lady we just showed you, and she's got to be, I mean, she has to be, she's older than Brian Wilson, I think. So
Well, I think she's 90 years old, so
yeah,
it's
that's
like,
my point.
dude,
Yeah, so
it's
he's
not
up
the
there.
same
Yeah,
person.
Yeah, and she has an issue with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she
Right.
has an issue with the title of what they're calling them, and that's her issue to have. And so,
Sure.
I don't. This lady over here is doing a whole different thing, has nothing
Yeah.
to do with the other. And y'all, if you can't watch the documentary and figure out who some of the other players are,
Yeah.
you got to start opening your ears and your
Sure.
brain a little bit. So.
Sure. So
Anyways, that's thanks, for explaining that to them. And then actually, you did bring up the photo that we. I mean,
now
I guess
that
you
one,
already just
the
showed
one,
it. We might
the
as well
one,
just go. Yeah,
that one's
might as
interesting
well
because if
just-
you look at Vince, I mean, he looks thinner. He looks in
something's
better
going on
shape.
here. Can you do a zoom in tool on that at all or anything? Right there.
there we go.
There you go. There you go. There. Okay, so let's take a good look at this, ladies and gentlemen. So now remember, folks,
there we
Vince has recently canceled shows because he was supposedly undergoing some kind of medical procedure, right? And so we were all hoping that Vince was all right and there's nothing going on here, but
Mhm.
they had to break up with the girlfriend as well, I believe, was going on recently. But this photo here is a mystery to me because, as me and Ruben are going to point out to you guys, forget the car. That's what everybody in the comments keeps going. Look at the car, and I'm not looking at the car. There's no gut. The jacket looks like it's hanging off him,
like it's an extra large on a now medium size man, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it really
and
does
his
look.
face looks. His face does not look right, guys. And when Ruben zooms in on his face, you can really get a look and say this guy's lost some weight and something's changed here. So is it a medical procedure for weight, or does he have a disease or something wrong with him?
And I guess
Undergoing treatment. He almost looks like someone undergoing treatment to me, bro. I'm just being straight. He looks
well,
like
yeah,
someone
because you
undergoing
can't see the
treatment.
hair, right? I mean, you'd think if he had his hair in a ponytail or something, you could. I mean, he could,
and you can really see in his face right there where he's lost weight.
But look at his hat. Like even his hat is sinking into his head. You know, if he had hair, I think it'd be up higher. I don't know.
Like his ears got bigger.
Well, ears get bigger as you get older, though. I mean, that's
but also like he has, but he kind of has. If there's no hair, you follow what I'm saying? You're noticing these things more because there's none of those things that's usually hanging over, and so I don't. I'm questioning.
Look at the hand, like the wrist areas. I mean, even that's like kind of really hanging over his wrists and stuff.
So it's just a weird situation. So I hope he's okay, but it does look a little bit like he's clearly lost weight. Now, whether that was by choice or by medical procedure or because he has something going on health-wise, that's causing him to have to lose the weight. But with his alcohol consumption, you have to wonder how are his organs and stuff doing in there? Maybe some of that bloating and that big gut that he was having for a few years there.
He was forced to quit booze because of medical issues.
I'm wondering. So I'm hoping he's okay, man, because I love me some Motley Crue.
Could it possibly be? I mean, they could have very well sent him to a rehab, and that's where he's been, and now he's out, and
I wondered if the girlfriend and the thing was all together like hey, I got to ditch her because I'm boozing and partying too much, and I got to get this straightened out to get back in the fucking band and make the money to do this.
But isn't it
or
weird?
Did a doctor step in and say, hey, bro, we did some scans and some blood work
do you remember that photo? I think it was TMZ that they took that photo of him walking the streets of, I forget, it might have been Nashville. And he was walking with that other young blonde and her friend. He still had a belly, and that just seems like it was like a month ago. I don't know.
A month ago. That's what I thought too. But we don't know what the date of all the photos. So I mean, and he did just post this today though, this morning. So you do have to wonder. He just doesn't. The face. It almost looks like it looks like his teeth are also. I don't know, jowl. I don't know what's going on there. When I zoomed in on his face, man, I'm telling you, it looks weird. Does not look like. It almost doesn't look like Vince. It looks like an old man.
Yeah.
I mean, not like an old man like his age. I mean, like an old man, like an 85-year-old guy who's living in a trailer, his face wise. So I don't know. Could just be the smile, could be the photo, but hopefully Vince is all right. They did cancel that stuff up there. We're gonna wait and see whether they're still doing the thing in Mexico. I think is in August or September. I think or something. So
Oh, October. Is that with Def Leppard? So I think that's in
yeah,
October.
the big
October.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah, in the fall, and it was
In the
later in
fall.
the year. So I was keep waiting to see if that one's gonna fall too, because I figure that's a pretty big one. If they cancel that, then something's got to be
But
going on. And
you
if he
know,
gets
with
on
that
stage
one,
by
you would
then
you would think that that would piss off a lot of people because if they bought tickets for a all-inclusive resort where there's going to be this show and they're expecting
with
Leopard
Crew and
and
Def
Crew
Leppard are
as
the
the
two big
headliners,
bands. Yeah,
I mean, they're going to have to
for
pull a
sure.
big-time headliner to replace Motley if that happens,
Well,
right?
that was why I felt like that's kind of to me as a bystander, an observer. That's what I thought. That's if they cancel that one, then something's up. Something's
Something's
going
up,
on
yeah,
there.
because that's
Yeah,
so far
something.
down the road. I mean, we're in
Hmm.
what tail end of June almost, and
Yeah.
we ain't got another four
And they got
months.
to be getting, they have to be getting some serious coin for that. So they don't want to miss out on it. And so we'll see if he gets it together and is back on stage by then. We'll know whether he's lost the weight if he gets on stage looking slimmer and trim. Maybe he might have had one of those facial gut sucking surgeries to take some blubber off. We lost your mic,
You
brother.
remember the remaking of Vince
Hmm.
on VH1 or whatever?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah. The
already
TV
had
show.
enough shots. This guy, I mean, he's such an underachiever, right? Like he's like he gets
Mhm.
all these breaks and he continuously fucks them up.
Pretty much. And
But
that's
he's
why when
such
you threw it
but
out there that maybe he had an operation to lose
yeah,
the weight, I would not put that past him at
right.
all. He's the kind of person that would just take, rather than do the work, he would just go get
But
an operation.
he's still more likable than Tommy and Nikki, in my opinion.
For sure. If you told me you have to hang out with one person for a night, and obviously Mick's not in this equation, so you're giving me
Yeah.
John Five, Nikki, Tommy, or Vince, I'm going to go hang out with Vince.
And see, I love John Five as a solo artist, and even in Rob Zombie and Manson, I just don't think he's a good fit for Motley.
Regardless of the fit for Motley, he's kind of a dorky nerd kind of
Dorky
guy, and I
nerd,
don't. That's
hired gun guy. Yeah,
he's not going to take me out to a good night on the town. If I'm in Vegas with Vince, I think we're going to have a
he's
party.
gonna go. Hey, let's go to Field Goods, also known as Vamped, which no longer exists.
Yes, exactly. So, anyways, well, but that was going to be, I was going to bring that up for a news segment, but obviously that just came right up because we were going through the photos, and that was one we were analyzing, going, what is going on with Vince? He's got no belly, his face has changed, and he looks like he's lost, I'm going to guess 50 pounds or more.
Oh, probably 100.
So,
I mean,
yeah, it might be
yeah.
more. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
look at his ankles. Right? He doesn't even have fat guy ankles and legs,
no,
right? I mean, the fucking guy
no,
lost a
the
lot of weight.
whole area, the thighs, the
Hmm.
waist area doesn't look as big. The jacket clearly and the shirt are hanging off him, so
Right.
he's got no some room in him, and so yeah.
Yeah.
Um, well, anyways, while we're on the topic of Vince and Motley Crue, how do you feel about the new song with Dolly Parton?
Oh, I. That's awful. I mean, it's awful. It's lazy. Um, and it's already been done. If you go back probably a decade ago, they did the country tribute to Motley Crue, and I forget it was some unknown, no name country guy. I mean, he's clearly not gone on to do bigger, better things, but he did Home Sweet Home, and a country version wasn't bad, but it just, I mean, if he wasn't adding anything to it, and I think he had Vince sing backgrounds on it, but not very good. And this is really embarrassing because it's really just, it sounds, you know what, it almost sounds like one of those reality uh, show contestants trying to, perform with the band that recorded the song. I don't know if you've
Yeah.
seen like some of those American
Yes.
Idol shows. Sometimes they'll perform with like ZZ Top or with Kiss or something like that, and it just,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just like, okay, it's
It's
kind of
never good.
cringy, not very memorable. Sure, they can sing, but it doesn't really improve the song, and it actually ruins it a little bit for me. Um,
Mhm.
and that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, Dolly Parton is, who she is. I think they tried to give her kind of a little bit more edge going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and she did that rock record where she had all those musicians. I mean, I scanned through that thing, and for what it was, eh, not that I'd ever want to listen to anything on there ever again. Um, but yeah, it's just, and it's, I guess the other thing too here is how much of that is Motley or Nikki rather, and how much is it the label? Because they could have been forced into this. We're going to do this other compilation, your sixth or seventh best of compilation, and we're going to add this Home Sweet Home with Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
You could either sanction it or not. But if you do, it's going to probably sell a little better for you, which is probably going to be good for you in the long run because you guys are going to still be touring. So, and they flew Nikki to Nashville. He sat in there in the studio while she, recorded her vocal.
Pretended like he was doing something.
Yeah, pretended like he was into it.
Just in some faders.
And he could have very well been into it. Who knows, right? I mean,
I'm
for a
just
guy
saying
like that,
I've never seen any albums produced by Nikki Sixx.
no. But
So
again,
like he's not the
but again, it's kind of one of those things that maybe he was forced into it, and maybe they didn't have to really push too hard for him to say yes, right? I mean,
Yeah, no, he had an opportunity to hang out with Dolly in the studio and play pretend for an afternoon with so
and
that was his chance.
I think he appeared on her record, so he probably knew her. I mean, and got to know her fairly well, or to a degree. So,
Yeah.
again, I don't know. I don't know what it doesn't do much for me, and it's not gonna wind up being played on country radio, and it's not gonna make that song the hit that it was back in 85, 86, or even 91 when they mixed the damn thing.
Yeah, which I thought sounded better, but didn't still move the needle any more than the original. And the original only moved the needle because Motley Crue is one of the biggest bands in rock at the time. And
Right.
it's not the kind of song that's like, oh, we want to hear more Home Sweet Home. No, like it was big because it was Crue, because it was Tommy, because it was it was something different for them. One thing I noticed about, regardless of the song, I mean, it's what it is, and her singing definitely didn't any magical things to it for me. But one thing I kind of noticed, and maybe I'm wrong, it seemed like a couple of those frames of the clips, they were cropped. So Mick.
So they
wasn't
didn't have
in the
Mick?
picture.
Yeah, not enough Mick.
Seriously, there's one where they have Tommy on the drums and Vince is standing in front of him. And if I remember correctly, Nikki's on one side and Mick's on the other with the guitar. And now it's cropped shorter. So it was just those three. And then during the guitar solo, which traditionally in the Home Sweet Home videos always went to Mick doing the guitar solo, both the 91 and the old one. This one, they cut out of that and showed Dolly and other things going on that had nothing to do. And then on top of it, I don't know. I could be wrong. I think that there was a conscious effort to minimize the images that actually showed Mick.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right. I think the glaring omission is during the guitar solo because that is the iconic thing, right? I mean, it's the power ballad.
The best part of the song, in Evil's opinion, is Mick's guitar solo.
Sure, maybe the first ever power ballad, right? I mean, really, for the era. But yeah, it's iconic because you have this ugly dude dressed up as an ugly woman playing the Kramer guitar with the Theater of Pain artwork on the guitar. I mean, fuck. How could you not include that?
Well, that's what I thought. When it went to the guitar solo, I thought, well, here's their chance to at least give Mick a little bit if they did, because I thought maybe they didn't edit him out. Maybe some producer, director guys just cropping shit and didn't even pay attention. But when we got the guitar solo and it went straight to something else, I was like, hold on. That's the time where you should go back to the old clip of Mick or whatever and show him doing his solo. What the hell, dude? So that was all good. Yeah. As usual, I'm not a Nikki fan.
Me neither. I've really grown to dislike the guy actually, and he used to be one of the cool musicians, right? Rock
in
stars.
1989, you thought he was cool. Yeah, we all thought he was cool. He was back then for sure, but nowadays it's just like, God, this guy is so fucking full of himself and such a douchebag. And it's just, and then with the way he interacts with people and social media in general, his attitude about things sometimes is just, ugh, it's even worse than Tommy's, man. It's like,
He's definitely sensitive. I know,
oh,
like Paul Stanley, him,
yeah.
but he blocked me. I think because I forget what it was. I think he posted something about the '94 record, and I just said, no, that's a pretty damn good record, and you were instrumental in disrespecting Karabi, in recent times, and he blocked, and I was like, wow. I mean, that wasn't harsh or anything. It was just kind of like, this is a fan's opinion. I love the record, and yeah, I mean, Karabi was given the shaft.
Yeah. And some of that was by Nikki, some of that's by the label, some of that's by the management, but obviously the opportunity was not granted for that to go where it could have gone. It was once we got out, well, they oversold it, and once they got in the venues and realized we're in too big of venues and we got to play smaller places and we don't want to do that, and their usual, well, let's be honest, Nikki Sixx type of ideas. Well, I'm not going to go play a club or a theater.
Right.
Well, really? Why would I? Well, I have to do that? Is this a promotional thing, or I'm going to do a tour of that? Oh, I don't know.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah, I've never, again, when I was 13 and 89, that seemed like he was a cool guy, but now that I'm older, no, this guy's a moron. So
yeah,
and I'm not even saying Vince is a good dude. I've heard some stories backstage or something.
Raise your horns high, let your spirit